Hey everybody, it's Alicia from Mountain Chalker Studio. I wanted to do a quick video, just a quick series of videos that I'm going to put together to show you how to put these trays together. So basically what we did was we took the full size 1x4s from Home Depot and we cut them to 26-inch lengths, and then we cut the smaller pieces that go on the edge at 16 1/8. You're not going to see the 1/8 here because the 1/8 is taken up by the blade when you cut the wood. So you want to cut it at 16 1/8 for the long pieces that are going to go across your tray. Now these are the full size 1x4s. Sometimes when you go to Home Depot, I recommend everybody take their measuring tape. The 1x4s sometimes are sold as 1 3/4. Or that's a 3/4. They usually kind of cut off half of it. These are actual full-size 1x4s. You can see there, it's an actual 1-inch. But sometimes they are 3/4 by 3 1/2 or so. And you want to make sure that when you go back and get more wood or whatever, that you're getting the same size. So 26 lengths by 16 1/8. And then what we do is we will glue these pieces together in here, and we'll put them on a clamp to clamp them up into a solid board. So after the 4 are actually glued together, I will come back and put these on here on top and glue them down with the clamp like we did the 4 pieces over here. Glue that down and then take it back to the sander and sand this really good, sand off all of the rough edges and make the corners a little bit more rounded. And just go back over the top of this to catch any other imperfections with the 60 grit. That way you capture everything before you start staining it. But you want to make sure you have a smooth surface to work with. I've noticed that on the edges, on some of the boards, they might be treated a little bit more, so you want to sand these really good or else the stain won't penetrate that wood. This is what it looks like when we clamp them up. I pick up these clamps at Harbor Freight for, I don't know, about $6 a piece. I mean, they're very inexpensive, and they're not heavy duty, but they're enough for what projects that we do with our Couture boards, and these trays are going to be fine. And then I can make other kinds of signs with these as well, or box frames. But you're basically going to glue in between. You want to make sure that your glue is uniform across the edge. Piece them all together and then clamp them down with your with this clamp. I don't even know what they're called. And it works really well. So the next step is I'll take you over to the sander. Okay, so we're at the sander right now, and my sander is really dusty. I use a number 60 round disc sander, and it's got Velcro on here, so I just buy the replacement sanding rounds here, and then I just attach it back to my sander. The 60 is like really rough, so because I want to make sure that I sand out all of the imperfections on this wood. So you can see there's a little bit of glue there. There's going to be some boards that stick up a little bit more just because they're bowed. And I want to make sure that they get sanded off really nice so I can have a fairly smooth surface to work with when putting the Couture designs on here. Alright, so this is the stain that I've been using. I've been using the Varathane dark walnut, and I've been using just an old brush that I used for whatever, and now it's a stain brush. And I try to wash this off really good, but it gets kind of stiff in between uses, and if it's too old, you know, I would just recommend getting another one. This one's been used probably about 6 times, so it's probably seen better days. So I think I'm going to replace this with another brush. You can use like a natural bristle brush for stain is what they recommend. I just use whatever because all I'm trying to do is just get that stain inside the wood grain. So after you stain it, what I normally do is I will take the brush and just brush on one coat real good, kind of even, get into all the corners and all around the edges is the first step for that. I let it sit for maybe 10 minutes while I'm working on the other board, so I try to do 4 or 5 at a time. And then I will take some shop rags. The blue ones work better than just regular towels, paper towels, and I'll just rip one of these off and I will just start wiping the excess stain on the top, and I go along the grain. So I don't want to do a lot of circles or anything like that, but I go along the grain to have it like a nice smooth finish on there. I let this sit for 24 hours, and then I will do the back. So the back has already been done on this one, and I will let that sit for 24 hours as well. So that's it for staining, and I'll show you the next step. Alright, for the next bit, this is what I've been using is the wood screws to countersink into the wood. So I don't want my screws sticking up to scratch somebody's coffee table or wherever they're going to put it. So I want to make sure that I countersink these screws. I've been using these. I picked these up from Home Depot. I think they're about $6 or $7 a box. I went through 100 of these on, let's say, about 12 to 15 boards. So because I've been putting 8 of them on each board to give it a little bit more sturdiness, I don't want somebody's hot coffee falling on them. I don't want this tray to break. I want it to be durable. So I've been using a countersink drill bit like this. You can go on YouTube and find out how to use this. It's super easy. I've been very intimidated about working with one of these for so many years that when I went on YouTube and finally found how easy it was, I was like blown away. I'm like, I could do this. So basically you're going to take your drill and you're going to drill a pilot hole in your wood first. You mark where your screws are going to go, and then you take your countersink and then you go probably to where you see that line is. I don't know if you can see the different colorations. You're not going to go very far beyond that because you don't want it to dig too far into your piece of wood. You just want enough so that your screw can get below that top surface. That's about it. And then I will just take a regular Phillips bit and take the screw, the wood screw, and then screw it down in there. And then I don't slam it all the way down into the wood. I just get it just enough to where it's right below the surface of that wood. So I hope you can see that okay. That's basically what I do. I come back around and I kind of touch up the hole with a little bit of stain. That way, just depends on how picky you are, but you can see on some of these how I came back and did a little bit more stain to make it a little bit darker. So that's all up to you.